Welcome back, viewers, to Careers Bistro. My name is Monique Adams, and I'm here joined by Mrs. Johanna Kambala. She is our feature on today's publication, Careers publication, HR column. She works for the Central Procurement Board of Namibia as the Marketing and Stakeholders Engagement Specialist. Thank you so much for joining me.
Good morning, Monique, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, lovely. Today, as her HR column that she wrote, we're going to talk about how SME businesses here in Namibia can be eligible when applying for bids. So, where do we find bids?
Thank you very much, Monique. As we all know, the procurement process in Namibia was actually transformed with the introduction of the Public Procurement Act number 15 of 2015, which requires entities to abide by such act. So meaning that if there is a procurement opportunity that is taking place in an entity, in a public entity, they need to follow the procedures stipulated in the Public Procurement Act. So where do we find opportunities for bidding?
Yeah.
Normally, what public entities do, depending also on the procurement method. Remember, the Public Procurement Act identifies various procurement methods that the entities can use. It can be expression of interest, it can be request for seal quotations, and the other one, it can also be, for example, open advertising, open bidding. When with open bidding, entities are required to advertise these bids in the newspapers with the biggest circulation. So you can find the bid opportunities in newspapers as well as on public entities' websites, because they are required to make the public aware that there are bidding opportunities at their entities.
Yeah. What about those websites where if you wanna download the document, you need to register and pay a certain fee every month so you can have like updates on the latest bids that are being offered?
Okay, it depends from entities to entities. For example, for public entities, you need, if there is a bid opportunity taking place, they are either bidding, we call it standard bidding documents that are given for free, and there are standard bidding documents which you have to buy or you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
But then there are other organizations where they've seen a business opportunity whereby you are allowed or required to pay a certain fee, and then you will be updated with bids.
Yeah.
So there are those organizations, but with the public entities themselves, they must either put the bidding opportunity on their website, or they must put the bidding opportunity in the newspapers for the SMEs and the general public to see what are the bidding opportunities that are available in their entities.
Great. So how does the procurement process work?
When there is a bidding opportunity identified in an entity, number one, they need to advertise. Yeah, they need to advertise whether now the bidders need to apply to buy the bidding document, or they must get the bidding document for free. And there is obviously a deadline as to when the bid closes. For example, if the bid is advertised in the newspaper, it should give the opportunity to bidders to submit their documents within 30 days.
Okay.
And that is what is very, very important when it comes to SMEs. They don't take this information seriously, because when it comes to the standard bidding document, as I've mentioned in my article, the standard bidding document is a document that needs to be completed with time.
Okay.
You cannot just go and buy a bidding document and the deadline is tomorrow, and you want to complete the document today. There is no way that you are going to succeed, because you might omit critical information that would have assisted you to be successful. So my advice to the SMEs out there is to make sure when you get hold of that bidding document, make sure that you have enough time to scrutinize the document, enough time to give the document to a second person just to do quality check and review and see that you have completed everything. Because really most of the time why SMEs are not succeeding in the bidding process is because they don't value quality check. They don't value dedicating enough time to go through their bidding documents.
Going through it thoroughly, making sure the paperwork is up to date and standard.
Exactly.
Okay, great. What should an SME plan before they go for a bid?
Yes, that is another critical concern that really SMEs are failing. The Public Procurement Act requires every bidder to have mandatory documents. What are these mandatory documents? Is your good standing certificate from the Social Security, is your good standing certificate for tax from the Ministry of Finance, and also your certificate from the Employment Equity Commission when it comes to affirmative action. These 3 documents have got also an expiry date.
Yes.
Now, many times a bid is advertised, SMEs apply for these bids, but their mandatory documents are expired.
Yeah.
Once your mandatory documents are expired, you are disqualified from the bidding process. These are simple things that SMEs can really take note of, to say, if you, on a monthly basis, you need to have a dedicated person in your entity, in your business, to check whether your mandatory documents are up to date. Make sure that you update your mandatory documents on a regular basis. That is the only way that can actually give you advance opportunity. Because remember, the bidding process is competitive.
Yeah.
And once you don't have your mandatory documents in place, that is the first elimination in the evaluation process. So very, very important, your mandatory documents should be up to date.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're very, very strict with when it comes to your paperwork and everything.
Your paperwork should be correct. I want to make an example, as I've indicated. If a bid is running until the 30th of October. And one of your mandatory documents is expiring on the 29th of October. Your bid is automatically disqualified, because your mandatory documents should be valid within the period that the bid is advertised and it is closing. And really, these are very simple things that SMEs take for granted.
Yeah.
And yet they don't understand as to, I've been applying for bids left and right, but I'm not getting them.
Yes.
The question is, do you complete your standard bidding document, you know, with an eagle eye? Do you have your mandatory documents that are valid for the period that you have that the bid was advertised?
Yeah.
And otherwise, if you omit this information and these important documents, you can forget about you being successful in bidding for a particular bid.
Yeah. So especially for SMEs, it's a lot of young people, and you know, the startup capital, they don't really have much. So they go in as being, before it became bid, tender, being tenderpreneurs. So where can they really go to get like this advice and like someone just guiding them?
Yeah, that is quite, you know, what I want to advise the SMEs is that they need to acquaint themselves with the Public Procurement Act. The Public Procurement Act is available on the website of the Ministry of Finance, the Public Procurement Policy Unit. And when they go and apply for bids, there is normally a clarification email, because public entities need to make sure that a bidder must be able to ask for more information.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm advising them to always make sure, if they saw a bid advertised in the newspaper, they need to contact that particular public entity and make sure that they get all the information before the closing date.
Yeah.
And also, if the closing date is on the 30th of October, you cannot go run around on the 30th of October looking for information.
Yes.
You need enough time to allow yourself to complete and to understand the requirements in the standard bidding documents, and also to look for information. Remember, you also need to do research on pricing. You need to look for various suppliers and quotations.
Yeah.
It is a process that requires time. Yeah. Bidding is not something that you can do overnight. A bidding document is not something that you can complete within a day. You really need to have time. And that's why the Act says you are given 30 days to complete your documents and to submit.
Yeah.
But if you buy a document today and you expect it to submit it tomorrow, you can expect failure.
Yeah.
You can expect that you are not going to be successful in the bidding process.
So the entities that offers these bids, they can really go up to them and ask them, show them the paperwork, is this fine? Like, that's like...
No, not to show them the paperwork is fine. if there is a certain section in the bidding document that
they
you
don't understand, okay,
there is what we call a clarification period.
Mm-hmm.
And an email is normally provided. You, for example, at the Central Procurement Board of Namibia, what we do is that when we advertise, we have got a clarification period of 14 days,
Mm-hmm.
whereby bidders can approach the Central Procurement Board of Namibia to find out if there is something not clear. For example, maybe something to do with pricing,
Yeah.
something to do with the terms of reference.
Mm-hmm.
So there is always clarification opportunity for SMEs to find out what exactly they need to understand if there's something that is not clear in the standard bidding document.
Filling in the form,
Yes.
great. So how are bids evaluated?
Bids are evaluated in terms of the Public Procurement Act. I would now speak on behalf of the Central Procurement Board of Namibia.
Mm-hmm.
We have got independent evaluators. These independent evaluators, CPBN, we don't have influence in their work.
Mm-hmm.
They are appointed by the board and they evaluate the bids independently.
Okay.
So that we the public does not say that no corruption can take
Yes,
place,
yes.
you know, the Central Procurement Board is corrupt, because we don't evaluate the bids. We do the process of advertising
Yeah.
until the bid is closed, and then we hand over this bid to independent
The
evaluators.
independent, yeah.
They evaluate it and then they give the recommendation to the board for approval. Yes.
Okay. So how are these people being picked by the board?
If you go on the Central Procurement Board of Namibia website, we advertise, we call for expression of interest. Anybody, any Namibian can apply to become a bid evaluation committee member. So even right now, if you go onto our website, there is also an open call for Namibians to apply so that they can be part of these evaluation committee members.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. So can you just dive more into the, here you mentioned about the Central Procurement Board was established as a juristic person by the Public Procurement Act 2015 with the following mandate.
Yeah.
It's just more in the central.
Okay. Basically, the Central Procurement Board of Namibia was established, as I've mentioned earlier, by the Public Procurement Act, that is Act number 15 of 2015. And the Central Procurement Board basically replaces the previous Tender Board of Namibia. Yeah. What we are mandated is that we are mandated to facilitate procurement processes for public entities above their threshold. Each public entity, according to the Public Procurement Act, are categorized as to how much money they can spend on a particular procurement project. If that procurement project is above their threshold, those procurement activities are referred to the Central Procurement Board of Namibia, whereby we facilitate the advertising and the award of that particular procurement. So we are responsible for the facilitation of procurement activities that are above the threshold of public entities.
Interesting.
Yes.
So how's the market going so far? Are there any great bids, you know?
Yes, definitely. There are a lot of bids running. I would like to advise the public out there, SMEs out there, business people out there, to always visit the Central Procurement Board of Namibia website, and they go to our current bids. We have got current bids running. Yes, they can also send an email to us if they want to find more about any opportunities. That is pr@cpb.org.na. I repeat again, our email address is pr@cpb.org.na.
So guys, things are picking up now. There are bids available. As she said, visit their website. And if you need more information, give them an email. So thank you so much, Ms. Johanna, for joining me. I've learned so much.
Thank you very much, Monique. And to the SMEs out there, please always make sure that your mandatory documents are up to standard, your mandatory documents are valid, and never rush to submit a bidding opportunity.
Yes.
You need enough time to complete your standard bidding document. There are opportunities out there, and the procurement process is a competitive one. You need to play the game right.
Yeah, but it is fair.
And it is it's fair, and it is open for everybody to apply.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much once again. And
Thank you very
guys,
much, Monique.
I've learned so much. I hope you did too. Go out there, get these bids, you know, grow as a person, grow your business. And yeah, Once again, thank you. See you guys next time, same place.